Oh, okay. Um, okay, fantastic. So, um, welcome everybody. And so I'm sure you're following along. We had a little technical glitch, and unfortunately, I'm rolling through the slides while she narrates. So she's got the slide deck up on her desktop. So what I'm looking at is the welcome slide. So I'll advance to the next screen, Bobbi Jo, and now I see the agenda.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff. And again, thank you, Cornerstone, for giving me this opportunity to be here today. Again, Bobbi Jo Massey at United Healthcare. And I do apologize. I had a system upgrade last night, and United Healthcare's firewall is not allowing me to get into GoToMeeting this morning. So Jeff is so kind to advance through the slides as I go through the presentation. But today what we wanted to focus on was the short-term ruling. Hopefully all of you are aware and have heard about the short-term ruling that takes effect September 1. So we'll kind of go over the overview of that. We're going to talk about a Health Protector Guard opportunity for you. We'll go through some case studies and best practices as it relates to that Health Protector Guard opportunity. And then we're going to finish out the presentation today with the bonus. So as Jeff said, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to put them in the chat box. But on this next slide, we're going to get through the short-term ruling itself. So let's get going. This slide that you're currently looking at is outlining the short-term ruling. So right now, it's business as usual for us. Nothing's changed right now. So you still have in Ohio access to the short-term plans up until September 1st. And in the states that we do have tri-term, like Kentucky, Indiana, Missouri, you'll see them at the bottom of the slide. It's business as usual for that product too. In the states that we do have a tri-term, I strongly suggest that we move those short-term one-year clients over to a tri-term 3-year product, just to give your client the longest duration possible protection onto these plan options. What that short-term ruling had stated, it came out in April-ish this year, indicated that as of September 1, tri-term plans will go away and be non-existent, and short-term plans as of September 1 will be a 3+1, meaning September 1, your short-term option in Ohio and all other states will be 3 months with a 1-month extension, making them no greater than 4 months at a time with any given carrier in a year. So it's basically saying once you do 4 months with United Healthcare this fall past September 1, you can no longer write a 4-month short-term with United Healthcare for another. You can't be more than 4 months in a 365-day time period with United Healthcare. So that ruling, again, will take away the tri-term. It will shorten the short term to a 4-month max with a given carrier in a year. And then it also had placed some disclosures, as it would be, on the fixed indemnity type products in the market. So the next slide that you should be looking at now talks about post-September 1. So right now it's business as usual, sell short-term like you have, try to sell as much tri-term as possible, but now short-term, post-September 1, again, tri-term goes completely away, no longer available. Short-term is a 3+1, 4 months with any given carrier in a calendar or a 12-month time period. And therefore, a big opportunity is going to lay into the Health Protector Guard product. And we'll talk about that here in just a moment. As I like to put analogies to what's happening, I had brought in a car analogy. So this slide, you're going to see some cars at the bottom of the screen with the 3 options post September 1. So new business, starting September 1, using a car analogy, on the far left-hand side, tri-term, it's basically a vehicle that will no longer start, right? It's not even an option anymore. In the center of your screen, you're going to see the short term, which is a 3+1. So yes, it's still an option post September 1, but let's think about it as an aspect whereas the car will run out of gas. It's not going to take your client from point A to point B. Whether your point A to point B is to get them from a certain time in the calendar year to the next ACA open enrollment period, or maybe it's from an existing time period and getting them to Medicare age. It's just not going to work. 4 months is typically not long enough to get them from point A to point B. So on the far right-hand side of the slide, you're going to see the Health Protector Guard, which is a fixed indemnity product, which will become a big focal point past September 1. We're going to lean into that product strongly to bring a potential option to consumers out there. That will be a vehicle that will get your client from point A to point B. Whether, again, that's just getting them to January 1, the next ACA open enrollment period, or because this product is renewable year after year, all the way up to age 65, it is a vehicle that you can ride all the way up to age 65. The other thing that I absolutely love about the Health Protector Guard is it's bringing in a nationwide PPO network. So again, just to recap, today, business as usual on these products. September 1, tri-term goes away. Short term shortens its duration to a max of 4 months with any given carrier in a rolling 12-month time period. And Health Protector Guard is a vehicle that is not being touched by this short-term rule. So moving along, I just want to talk a little bit about the Health Protector Guard product. This is a product that typically hasn't been used because we had a vehicle like tri-term and short-term. And we had used this product heavily back in, I don't remember if it was summer of 2017 or 2018, when short terms were 3 months back then. They had the 2x3s, the 3x4s, and then when Trump took office, he reversed all of that, and it brought back the tri-term and the short-term longer durations. Well, now we need to go back to that Health Protector Guard vehicle and utilize it for a time period. It is medically underwritten, and therefore I want to kind of overview the Health Protector Guard product. The slide that you should be looking at has 3 icons on the top. It's talking about the fixed indemnity plans having first dollar coverage. What I mean by that is there is no deductible on this plan. 0 deductible. That means day 1 on this plan, the client is going to have benefits payable to them. And again, it is renewable all the way to age 65. Now, fixed indemnity, what does that mean? It basically means that benefits are paid out per medical expenses. So per person, per expense that is being conducted or services that are being rendered. And it's a set dollar amount that pays out regardless of the actual expenses incurred. So it might say, we pay you $5,000 a night in the hospital, $10,000 a night in ICU. Now, if your expenses are less than that, we still have to pay out $5,000 in the hospital, $10,000 in ICU. This plan does not coordinate with any other coverage. So it's just going to always pay out what the schedule of benefits indicates it's supposed to pay out. One thing that I do want to point out on this next slide is that fixed indemnity is not major medical. It doesn't have all the minimum essential coverages in it, hence why, it is a usable vehicle that many have tried to stay away from ACA. Sometimes it was they weren't pregnant. They didn't want to pay for maternity benefits. They didn't need mental health coverage. There were things that they just didn't need and didn't want to pay the extra premium for. That's what fixed indemnity is as well. Just like short-term and tri-term, it does not have all the minimum essential coverages, and it does not create a qualifying life event when the coverage is terminated.
Can I jump in here real quick?
Sure.
Um, Apparently, some people are having difficulty seeing the presentation. I did change some of the diagnostics. Is it any better now, or is it still having an issue with the display? If you want to add that to the question box, then I have a question to ask her. Are you guys seeing this okay? If you wouldn't mind putting that in the question box. Okay. Let's see if we can blow this up a little bit. My apologies. So, display settings. Is that any better? That is better. Okay. I guess it had the wrong setting. So this is good. Okay. So Aziz, is this better for you? And then we'll get to your question. So Aziz did have a question. Yeah. So isn't it risky to write a new tri-term now because it won't align time-wise with the ACA open enrollment in 2027?
You're right. So what would happen is really putting the person on a tri-term now, it's really you're getting them through half of 2020 for all of 2025 and 2026. Once you get to open enrollment for 2027, you would want to shift that client during the ACA open enrollment period onto an ACA plan, or we never know what might happen with fall election. Maybe having that 2.5 years on tri-term, things could change legislatively, and maybe tri-term and short-term can become back to what it is existent today. So what we're just saying is stretch out those clients as long as you can now, and let's see what happens with fall election and future things in the industry. The reason why we say that is there's a reason why people are buying short-term and tri-term. Many times it is because they're looking for a lower cost alternative to ACA. Many times it's because they do not want to conform to an HMO or EPO network. They want a true nationwide network. So those consumers that have been doing this for quite some time, they really like that product. Try to stretch it out as long as you can, and let's see where the legislation falls next year, or in the following year thereafter, because it could potentially change. We don't know. But I do think that putting a client on a tri-term now is at least going to buy them that 2.5 years of protection longer before having to potentially have to go to ACA, if that makes sense.
And to follow up on that, if they cancel early because they want to line up with a new open enrollment, is there a refund for unearned premium on a tri-term?
So tri-term allows you to term at any point in time with a refund of any unused premium.
Okay, great. And another question, does the 1 month extension, I guess she's alluding to the 3x1 now, on the 3x1, does the 1 month extension require a new application and underwriting?
It's my understanding, and we're getting the final rule stuff will be coming out probably within a week or two. It's my understanding it's going to be in the original application, September 1 and beyond. When they apply, they're going to tell us that they want the 3+1 upfront. Therefore, no additional underwriting is my understanding.
Okay, and I know I digressed there. I got off topic because you were um, um, talking about the fixed indemnity solution. So let's forge ahead with that, and then we'll get to some more questions towards the end. Okay, so
Sounds
I'm
great.
back on the slide. Fixed indemnity issue ages. And thank you so much,
Awesome.
everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jeff. And thank you guys for being patient. As I said, we had technology issues today. So issue ages for this Health Protector Guard plan, primary insured 18 to 65, children on their parents' plan typically up to age 26. We do not have any child only, and this product, like I had said earlier, it is guaranteed renewable to age 65. Sorry, 65. So they can buy it now and keep riding that vehicle all the way to age 65, or at any given time, they can cancel and move to any other type of coverage they desire. This next slide is just to talk about the pre-existing conditions. It's important that you understand that this is medically underwritten and it is a renewable product up to age 65, but there is a pre-ex clause, and that clause says anything that the client has gone to the doctor for, sought out advice treatment for, or had taken medication for in a 12-month look back from purchasing the plan will have an initial 12-month wait. After that 12-month wait, all pre-existing conditions are covered and going to continue to be covered through that renewal cycle. The next slide is talking about our network. This is the biggest selling feature of the UnitedHealthcare core medical plans. It's having access to the largest network in the nation. It is our PPO network, Choice Plus, that is used as well on our group side of the business. We have huge buying power with a network that strong. 1.5 million physicians from coast to coast. Over 85% of the hospitals nationwide are in this network. So that's over 7,000 hospitals. It is a true national network. They can buy this plan in Ohio, and if they want, they can go to California, New York, Wisconsin, where I am, or maybe they desire a strong cancer facility, which is MD Anderson in Houston, Texas. That's in this network. Go there. We don't care. It's in network. See whoever you want, whenever you want. Outside of it being the largest network, the secret sauce really is the repricing of claims. Again, the huge buying power that UnitedHealthcare has. Our average network repricing is 56%. You're going to see that in that red star on this slide. Again, average 56% discount. That means as soon as they buy this plan, they seek out care to an in-network provider. On average, immediately, we're going to reprice that claim down 56%. So when looking at these plans, there's a couple things that you would need to do as far as picking out the plan options. We're going to go through the standard plans there first. You'll see here the standard plan. You've got choices as far as the bottom is choice. And as you work your way up in that gray section, you have the select plan. The preferred is second richest. And the premier plan is the richest plan. So first, the customer must choose choice all the way up to premier. And then we will talk about the works thereafter. But let's look at a snip from your product brochure on these core plans that you have. So what you should be seeing on your screen is critical services for this Health Protector Guard series. And across the top, on the left, you're going to see the blue column, which is choice, the lowest end product. And then going to your right, you're getting richer. That yellow is select, the light blue is preferred, and the richest plan is the orange premier column. I always suggest you try to get to the richest plan possible within a customer's budget. Start out with Premier, and you can always work your way backwards if this does not fit within their budget. But what you will see, and again, this is not a deep dive product training, it really is to let you know there's an alternate option out there and pique your interest to take a deep dive product training on this. What you're going to see again, this is a snip out of your product brochure. You're going to see at the very, very top row is your hospital confinement benefit. $1,000 on choice, all the way up to the Premier plan, which is $5,000. So again, depending on plan, $1,000 to $5,000 per night in the hospital. The third row down is an additional hospital admission benefit. So day one, as they're admitted to the hospital, depending on plan, they're going to get $1,000 to $3,000 just for that hospital admission. Row 2 is the ICU benefit, and that
Just want
pays
to make
in.
sure we're on the same slide. You're
Sure.
on, is it critical services, upper right-hand corner?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep. Critical services.
thanks.
Yep. So row 2 is the ICU and critical care benefit. And this pays out in addition to your hospital confinement. So giving you an example is on the far right-hand side, that orange column. If somebody was on the Premier plan and they were in ICU for 3 days, first and foremost, they're going to have a $3,000 benefit that pays out for their hospital admission. And then every day in ICU, they're going to get $10,000 because they get the $5,000 for being in the hospital and $5,000 additionally because they're in ICU. That can show you how those benefits pay out, right? These benefits pay out regardless of the expenses. So if it really is only, maybe it's only $9,000 a night in ICU. Well, this plan is going to pay out $10,000 a night. So it pays out the set dollar amount regardless of the expenses incurred. You'll also see here, row 4 is telling you your emergency room benefit, $400 to $1,000 per day. You've got ambulance in here, ground, water, and air. And you'll see all of those benefits at the top section. In the middle is the surgical services, and that's on the next slide, and we'll go there in just a moment, but not quite yet. Outpatient surgical services does pay out a facility fee. And then at the very bottom of this screen, you're going to see your outpatient lab, X-ray, diagnostic imaging, your things like MRIs, your EEGs, your EKGs, your PET scans, your all of those things below. And then you're also going to see your chemo and radiation. Again, this is just a snip out of your product brochure. It's not a deep dive training. We can absolutely go through that. But I really wanted to share the concept today and then show you how that can play out in real live case studies. Again, we can always go through a deep dive product training if necessary. But on this next slide, you're going to see the surgical benefits. So the top will say Health Protector Guard surgical benefits. All these plans pay out the same for surgeries except for the choice, the low-end product in the light blue. But your select, preferred, premier surgical services are the same. So if somebody was to have a tier 1 surgery, they're going to get $50,000 that pays out to them. And then in addition to that, at the bottom, if there is an assistant surgeon, they're going to get 20% on top of that for the assistant surgeon. So 20% of $50,000 is $10,000. So they're going to get $10,000 additionally for the assistant surgeon. And then at the very bottom, they're going to get 30% on top of that for the anesthesiologist. So $50,000 for the surgery, $10,000 additionally for the assistant surgeon, and 30% more would be $15,000 more for the anesthesiologist. So now a tier 1 surgery with an assistant surgeon and an anesthesiologist is going to pay out $75,000 to the client. So that's to kind of tell you how this product plays out on how fixed benefits work out. These are not copays. These are saying this is what the plan will pay out. So once the customer chooses their choice, select, preferred, premier plan, preferably the Premier, which is the far, far right orange. Then on the next slide, the customer will also have to choose their level of works, WORX, levels 1, 2, and 3. 1 is the low end, 3 is the top end. So the next slide will show you, what does works mean? Works means the amount of wellness, office visits, and prescriptions. Should see the WORX.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Moving on to the next slide, Jeff, this is going to show you what each of these works levels means. Similar, again, just a snip out of your product brochure. Top right, or top, across the top, you're going to see works 1, 2, and 3. 1 is your blue column, 2 is your middle of the road yellow column, and 3 on the far, far right-hand side is your light blue, or green, blue-greenish. And what you'll see here, if the client was to choose Works 3, which I encourage that be the only thing that you sell. I do not recommend Works 1 or 2. So I'm only going to talk to you about Works 3, because that is where I would recommend you only quote. The client is going to get $125 for their wellness exam. They're going to get $100 for their lab and x-ray. They're going to get $150 for a mammogram. They're going to get $150 for bone density. They're going to get $100 for an EKG, $125 for their stress EKG, and then you're also going to get $500 for their colonoscopy. Let me back up a little bit. So let's talk about that $500 for a colonoscopy. Remember what I said about this plan is the client is going to have the largest network in the nation behind them. Whereas on average, immediately when they're utilizing an in-network provider, we're going to reprice that claim down by about 56%. So let's just say, for example's sake, a client has a $1,200 colonoscopy, right? $1,200 colonoscopy. We reprice that claim down the average 56%. That leaves that claim now at taking off, we'd have to take off $672 off of that $1,200 bill. That leaves the claim left at $528. And this plan then will pay out $50 or $500 to the client. So that example, a $1,200 colonoscopy, average network repricing down 56%, we pay out $500. That example, the client's out of pocket would be $28. So it's important to understand in these plans that it says, yes, this is what we're paying out. The big significant win before this pays out is the UnitedHealthcare repricing. You can do that exact same thing in that middle section when we talk about office visits. A doctor office visit on Works 3 is going to pay out $125. If it's a $250 office visit and we reprice that down, that 56% discount, it's going to be approximately a $110 bill. And this plan pays out $125. So in that example, the client is actually making $15 to see the doctor. So that just explains the network repricing happens first, which is very strong, and then this plan pays out. So in that middle section is your office visits, your urgent care, and then you'll also see chiropractic, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and then at the very, very bottom, you're going to see the prescriptions. So prescriptions on Works 3, $60 for name and $20 for generic. But alongside of this plan, the client is getting Optum discount for prescription, which averages a 30 to 80% discount. So that's going to help them discount these down so that way these payout amounts are more reasonable to the consumer. The next slide, Jeff, is going to just go through some additional preventive services where you'll see under 18, some immunization and flu shot reimbursement, $25, $10 for allergies. Over 18, $25 for an adult flu shot, $100 to a female for a pap smear, and then $100 to an adult male over 40 for a PSA testing. The one thing to point out is all preventive services do have an initial 30-day wait period. So I just wanted to show an example. This next slide is going to just show you on that richest plan, what would happen if a client, and you'll see these little images of a claims example, what would happen if a client took an ambulance ride to the hospital thinking that they were having some chest pain, and they put the client in the hospital for 7 days, of which 3 were in ICU. This just shows you how the benefits stack up on top of each other to pay out the client these services. So you'll see the ground ambulance, $1,000. Emergency room started first, $1,000. They then were admitted to the hospital, got $3,000. For all 7 days in the hospital, they got a $5,000 per day payout, which is $35,000. And then 3 days additionally in ICU was an additional $5,000 for those 3 days, $15,000. So in total, in this claims example, $55,000 is paid out to the client. The next slide is just going to show you the maximums. So it's a $2 million calendar year maximum, $5,000 lifetime maximum. The next slide is just showing you that the client does get an ID card with this product. We do want them to use this ID card at every provider so that way we can facilitate that repricing, right? 56% discount average is huge. Please, they get an ID card. They should use this plan just like they would use insurance. They get their network repricing, and then we go ahead and pay out the benefits to the consumer or provider. It defaults that we pay the benefits directly to the provider, with any overage being paid to the client via check. But if the client wants all the money to go to them, they can assign all the money to them. Again, we pay out the benefits by default directly to the provider. And if by chance it is that office visit situation where it's a $110 bill, we would pay $110 to the provider. But because the plan says we must pay out $125, the client will get a $15 check in the mail that they can cash. I get this all the time. Clients calling in, hey, my client got a check in the mail. Can they cash that? Yes. If you get a check in the mail, you can cash it. We did process things correctly. The next slide is just showing you some quick value adds. Again, some value adds as it comes with Teladoc through Healthiest You. Utilize that. Stay out of a brick and mortar facility to keep the out-of-pocket costs down. If they use Teladoc, it's a zero cost to the client for that visit. I mentioned the Optum perks. Utilize that for your prescriptions. UnitedHealthcare is able to give them a 30 to 80% discount savings on prescriptions. And then by all means, if a client does have some significant out-of-pocket expenses after we give the network repricing, after we pay out the benefits on the plan, we have a post-claims negotiation service. They would contact MedSense, and MedSense then is going to work with that doctor or facility to get that bill down as much as possible. The next slide just shares with you the average per member per month premium. I'm really not going to focus on this slide too much because it's the average across all United States, across all age bands, right? A 26-year-old can look very different than a 55-year-old. So I really wanted to take you through live case examples or case studies. So this next slide is going to take us through the case study of a 26-year-old in Cincinnati. The next slide, Jeff, if you want to advance, is actually going to show the broker portal real quick. So when you are quoting this product, you are utilizing the UnitedHealthOne broker portal, which is uhone.com/broker. Again, uhone.com/broker. You will be able to find under the brochures, sales tools, and training tab on that right, you'll see all of the brochures are readily available for you. You'll also see product training, deep dive product training on the 5th option down, which is webinars on demand. Otherwise, this is where you're going to go to do all of your quoting. You will be able to, as soon as you log into the home page of your site, be able to click on that orange Get a Quote button. Today, we allow for you, if you see under that orange Get a Quote button, we allow for you to quote 90 days in advance. Starting June 21st, you've heard this first from me, we will be extending out the quote window to 150 days in advance. This allows for you to be able to work with some of your short-term and tri-term clients to get them rewritten on different products if that's how you choose to move forward. One thing that I will say, being a 150-day quote advance window, August 3rd. Remember that date. August 3rd is a key date for you because on August 3rd, 150 days in advance allows for you to sell a client a short-term or a tri-term that starts December 31st of 2024. That way you can then put them on a short-term for all of 2025 or start a tri-term December 31st of 2024 for 3 years. Again, that key date for you is August 3rd. 150 days in advance is when that window would then open up for you to get a December 31st effective date. But post September 1, when we are dealing with no tri-term and short-term only 4 months, this is where I wanted to show you the opportunity with Health Protector Guard. The next slide is taking us through a case study of this 26-year-old male in Cincinnati, Ohio. What I did is I went to grab all of the options available to the consumer. So what you should see on this slide, far left-hand side, is the ACA option for this male 26. It was a catastrophic plan, $94.50 out of pocket, $94.50 deductible, and it's $178 for this 26-year-old. On the right-hand side, today they could access a short-term, D Plus Elite, $7,500, 100%, a little bit cheaper, $157 a month. Then on the far right, you're going to see the option that I would recommend post September 1, and that is the richest Health Protector Guard plan, that Premier 3. Again, 0 deductible, day 1 coverage, renewable to age 65, $139 a month premium. I outlined for you at the very bottom the commissions. This is now illustration purposes only. This is not specific to your commission schedule, but it gives you an idea of what your commissions would be. ACA average is about $20 to $25 a month commission. Short term, about $24 a month commission. And look at Health Protector Guard, $48, almost $49 a month commission. There is a viable option out there. There is a way that you can make money. If you would advance, Jeff, to the next slide, I want to show you how you should properly sell a fixed indemnity plan, being that Health Protector Guard Premier 3. At the very top, you'll see that premium, $139.13. I recommend to never, ever sell a fixed indemnity plan in and by itself. Never. I always suggest that you wrap it with an accident and critical illness plan. The accident, if you cap out, highest it goes to is $20,000. And that would be an additional $47 a month premium for this 26-year-old. The critical illness at the bottom, cancer, heart attack, stroke, ALS, Alzheimer's, all of the critical conditions. I recommend that you start at the richest, which you'll see is $100,000 here for this 26-year-old, being about $40 a month premium. You can always work yourself backwards, but I always say start at the top and work your way down in that person's budget. So remember that ACA plan was about $180, but it had a $94.50 deductible. This is a little bit more, $226 when you wrap in that accident and critical illness, but there's zero deductible, day one coverage. And the next slide brings in then the hypothetical commissions. Again, not specific to your commission schedule, but to give you an idea now, with the Health Protector Guard, with the accident, with the critical illness, your commissions are now around $89 a month versus an ACA plan that this client could choose, $94.50 deductible and $20 to $25 a month commission. This is a viable option. Now, things do look a little bit different the older someone would get. And so utilizing that same example, I'm going to take you through a 55-year-old in Cincinnati. So Jeff, if you want to advance to the 55-year-old with ACA short-term and Health Protector Guard, what you will see, same concept, right, is far left ACA, $492. In the center, a little bit cheaper is that short-term, which is available today, $435.99. And then on the far right-hand side, the Health Protector Guard. Now, what you'll see here, I didn't get to go to Premier 3. The Health Protector Guard on the far right-hand side, I had to take one step down to the Preferred 3 because of pricing, because I want to make sure that I'm able to take in some accident and critical illness for some better protection. So that Health Protector Guard on the far right-hand side is the second richest plan, Preferred 3, again, zero deductible, $365 a month. So the next slide will take that $365 Preferred 3 Health Protector Guard plan, and it's going to get that client, 55-year-old male, to the richest accident plan, $20,000 on top of that cash for accident, $47 a month. And then with the critical illness, because of his age, I couldn't afford to get $100,000 for him. But I did want to get to something that was reasonable, and therefore I went with the $50,000 critical illness, $101 a month premium. But adding these three plans together, it's $514 a month premium. Remember that ACA plan? It was $492. So yes, it's a little bit more expensive than ACA, but it's, again, zero deductible. That ACA had a $94.50 deductible. And then the next slide is going to just take you through that compensation, right? You're obviously going to have greater compensation in a 55-year-old because the premium is higher. So now when you look at the Preferred 3 accident, critical illness, wrapping that all together, the commission, average commission to you is $205 a month. Great options.
It's not showing the total commission on the screen. Can you repeat that?
Total commission, you can see it, 205.
205. Okay, we'll just jot that down. It didn't show up on the screen.
Oh, it didn't show up. I'm sorry. So
it's
total
okay. Commission
on that male 55 in Cincinnati, Ohio, with the Health Protector Guard accident and critical illness, $205.34 a month. Sorry,
great.
It didn't show up on your sleeve.
Yeah.
Now, I know we're kind of getting close to time, so I'm going to kind of advance through these next slides a little bit quicker, Jeff. I did the same case studies on in Cleveland, though. So the next slide is going to be your 26-year-old in Cleveland, Ohio. ACA was a little bit more expensive in Cleveland for this 26-year-old, but the short-term and Health Protector Guard priced out the exact same same premium in Cincinnati versus of Cleveland. So again, ACA was a little bit more expensive, but short-term and Health Protector Guard stayed the same. So next slide, you're going to see that wrapped up entire combination of Health Protector Guard with accident and critical illness. So approximately $25 more a month premium than the ACA option. But again, zero deductible, first dollar benefits versus a $94.50 on ACA. And then the very next slide, the compensation should look the same as our 26-year-old in Cincinnati, Ohio, but we're in Cleveland because, again, the premiums were identical. 55-year-old in Cleveland, if you want to keep moving forward, Jeff, same concept there. The 55-year-old in Cleveland, Ohio, again, ACA was more expensive in Cleveland, but short-term and Health Protector Guard didn't change. So as you look through the next few slides, you've got your 55-year-old with your Health Protector Guard accident and critical illness. On this one, I did put the critical illness at $75,000 versus $50,000, and that's because ACA was so expensive in this market. So I did have a little bit more premium I could work with to get it more in line with the more expensive ACA option. So this one, compensation will be a little bit higher because critical illness, I went to $75,000, and so altogether, the compensation on this scenario, male 55, Cleveland, Ohio, all the three plans, critical illness being $75,000, your compensation would be around $235 a month, around $235 a month.
Okay.
So really with what I was trying to share with you guys today is, yes, short-term and tri-term ruling, what does that mean for you? Post September 1, Bobbi Jo, what are my options going to be? And I wanted to show you what an alternative option could be and what it means for you as far as compensation, what it means for your client as far as coverage. Now, the next slide is just going to take you through the best practices to be most successful with this product for you and for your client. This slide that you are on should be best practices with some bullet points, Jeff. It starts out by stay in network. Why do I say stay in network? Average 56% discount. This is the largest network in the nation. There should be no reason that your client would have to go out of network. Number 2, use Teladoc. Stay out of the brick and mortar facility. That's going to cost you, $150 to $250 an office visit. Instead of doing that, use Teladoc. It's free. Use Optum Perks, number 3. That's going to get your client that average 30 to 80% discount shopping for prescriptions. Number 4, buy up the plan design per the budget. But what I say is always start at Premier at the very top, always, and work your way down to preferred. And I would say do not go any lower than select, right? The low-end product is really just intended to be with another core medical plan. If you are selling this in and by itself without another core plan, you would want to start at Premier. If that's too expensive, move your way down to preferred, and then if necessary, fall back to select, but never go less than select if it's not being sold with another core medical plan. I say always sell the work 3. The wellness, office visits, and prescription, the highest level works 3. Again, don't sell it alone. You should always couple with this accident and critical illness. The richest you can go to in accident is $20,000. The richest you can go to in critical illness is $100,000. Start out there and peel back if you need to stay within your client's budget. It is also important that you educate your consumer on what this plan is and isn't, how it works, what they should expect. They do have an ID card. They should use that at the time of service. If they do get a check in the mail, they can cash it. You would want them to register for their member portal so they can watch all of these benefits online. And then, like I said, if by chance there is some higher out-of-pocket expenses after the network repricing, after we pay out the benefits, then use MedSense. It's our concierge service that is going to be a negotiator for the client to get those claims down the best that we possibly can. And then this next slide, do not forget about dental and vision. Dental has always been the largest selling ancillary product, and the growth percentage increased dramatically this January. And the reason why our dental sales have increased in January and beyond is because we launched a brand new dental portfolio. We increased the coinsurance on basic services, major services. We cut out wait periods on all lines of services except for implants. Their PPO plans, they are a really, really strong product in the network, or in the market. If you are not selling UnitedHealthcare's dental or vision products, I strongly suggest that you look at those plans. If you have anybody that is wearing glasses and or contacts, they should absolutely be on UnitedHealthcare's vision plan. They will make more money than they will pay UnitedHealthcare in premium. So lastly is our bonus, and I know we're getting tight on time here. So lastly is our bonus. It is going now through August 31st. You do have to register for it. So if you've not registered, please reach out to me or to Cornerstone to get that registration link. You'll see the bonus is always better if a client is paying via EFT. Tri-term copay plan, which is our best seller, $700 bonus. Short terms, $50. The Health Protector Guard we talked about, $150. You'll see some of our ancillary products at the bottom. So the accident expense guard we talked about. You're going to see the critical guard, critical illness we talked about, dental plans. And then the very next slide, Jeff will just show them if they were to sell that Health Protector Guard with the accident, with the critical illness, on top of their commissions, they're also going to make $200 bonus.
Fantastic.
So lastly, just why UnitedHealthcare? Largest health insurance carrier in the United States, ranked number 5 in Fortune 500, A+ superior by AM Best. Over 75 years experience in this individual market space. We have an easy quote and enroll tool. Over a year ago, we launched the security question submission process that allows you as an agent to submit an application 100% on behalf of the client. They do not have to do anything. You do the quote, you do the application, you submit the application. The only thing that they need to do is give you the answer to 2 unique security questions, like what was the street you grew up on? What was the name of your first pet? Brand strength, prompt and accurate claims. 90% of our claims processed in 8 days or less with a 99.8% claims payment accuracy. And then product optionality. We have all the products available to your consumers under one roof. So with that, I want to thank you very, very much for your patience today, as again, we had some technology issues. My fault, being that I had a system upgrade overnight and I was unable to get into GoToWebinar for the technology piece. And so I do invite you to reach out to me to ask any questions that you might have. You also have Cornerstone in your back pocket. I suggest jumping on your broker portal. Quote today while it's fresh in your mind. Go check out the brochures that we talked about. Also, you can check out the deep dive product webinar that is out in there. So with that, thank you, Jeff, for being patient with me today. And is there any questions that we might have?
Yeah, there's several questions here. Okay. Let's just dive into this. Starting out with John, can't UH1 starting in July or August allow January 1st start date to help align with OEP? And I think you got to that a little bit. Could you reiterate that?
Yeah, so we'll be expanding our quote window to 150 days on June 21st. But really that 150 days in advance, key date for all of you would be August 3rd. August 3rd 150 days in advance will allow for you to get a December 31st, 24 effective date. We will not allow January 1 of 2025 effective dates just because of some of the legality things within that short-term ruling. So the furthest out you will get with us is December 31st.
Gotcha. Okay, I was going to ask that. And then the other key date is September 1st, obviously. So get all those pre-sales wrapped up before the end of August. That's key.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got to, work with your clients, and if they're going to go on vacation or something like that in August, get that stuff wrapped up in August. And then another question, define pre-existing.
Pre-existing is anything that the client has gone to the doctor for, sought out treatment for, took medication for in the last year. So in the last year, if they went to the doctor for a knee issue, that would have a 12-month wait period. If in the last 12 months they were prescribed a high blood pressure medication, that would have a 12-month wait period. So anything that they've done with the doctor, facility, medications in the last 12 months would have a 12-month wait on Health Protector Guard.
Okay, and more on Health Protector Guard. On the HPG, what is the average annual premium increase, and can premiums increase more than annually?
So at this point in time, being fixed benefit, our actuarial team can clearly define what our worst case payout would be. And therefore, at this point in time, since we've launched this product beyond 10 years, it has never taken a rate increase.
Fantastic. Everybody will get a copy of this presentation. So to answer that, everybody will get a copy of the presentation, and then a couple more questions for you, Bobbi Jo. So to get these benefits on the Health Protector Guard, does the client themselves need to file the claims with UHC, or will the provider file the claims for the client? A great question.
The client can. Please don't recommend that. If the client does, we're not getting everything that we need. So please have the client use their ID card. Give that ID card to the provider or the facility, and please have the provider and facility submit the claims to us. They tell us the CPT codes, the ICD codes, all of the things that we need. So they could if they wanted to, but I highly recommend that they just have it processed like any other insurance. Give them their ID card. The provider and facility will submit the claims to us.
Fantastic. Next question. Where can we see in-network doctors? Where do you find that?
Yeah. Yep. So you can go, the client can grab it on their member portal once they're insured with us, or when you are quoting this product in the quote engine, as you're looking at the premiums just below it, it's going to have a blue clickable link that will link you out to the network search. Or you can just go to myuhc.com. So in the quote, it'll give you a link to it, or you can go to myuhc.com.
Super. Next question. Do individuals typically only get this coverage to add as supplemental to their major medical, or do you see people just getting this plan? I think she's referring to the HPG.
Yeah, so HPG, when it's the choice or select the low-end products, that's usually sold alongside a core medical plan with a high out-of-pocket. When you're getting to the high-end Premier 3, Preferred 3, those are typically then bought by themselves as core medical. But again, never ever do I recommend them be sold by themselves without accident and critical illness, additional layer of protection.
Fantastic. Okay. Comment and just a chance for you to chime in. So David says, using your math, my foot doctor would cost me $46, but my foot doctor charges $350 per visit.
Okay. So $350 per visit. If we were to average out a 56% network discount, we would take that down to approximately $154 as an final bill. If the plan is only paying out $125, yes, your $154 minus the $125 we pay out the client responsibility in that example would be $29 out of pocket.
Super. Right on the a little math on the fly. Well
Calculator.
done. Well done. Um, and so, how do we show the max out of pocket? That is what most of my clients are concerned with.
Yeah, on a fixed indemnity plan, you can't necessarily quantify a max out of pocket. We have no idea where the client's going to get services rendered, what kind of services are being done. All we can do is share with them how this plan pays out, and that's all we could do. There's no way you could quantify a max out of pocket on fixed benefits.
That's a good point. Okay. And I think this is our last question. If rewriting existing short-term policies in effect that cancels on June of 2025 with the 12/31 effective date, what is the process to cancel existing coverage? So you're doing a
So,
rewrite
yep.
for a
So
different term.
on the short-term application, you'd first be quoting or applying for a December 31st effective date, August 3rd and beyond. Apply for a December 31st effective date. And then on the short-term application, it asks if there's an existing short-term plan in place that you would like for us to cancel. Once that client checks that box on that application, we then will coincide the termination date of their existing plan to the start date of their new plan, December 31st of 2024.
Easy. Okay, that's a
Mm-hmm.
great solution. Fantastic job, everybody, and fantastic job, Bobbi Jo. Everybody will get a copy of the presentation, and by all means, if you have additional questions, shoot me an email, or you can shoot Bobbi Jo an email. Her email is right there on the screen, and give her a call. She's on the Central Time Zone, everybody, so just keep that in mind. Don't call her, at 8:30 in the morning because she she might not be at the desk just then. But I really appreciate you joining us today. And any final comments, Bobbi Jo?
No, I just want to thank you so very much for giving me this opportunity to be here today, telling brokers what their options are now and what they are in the future, and letting them know that I'm readily available to help them with all their quoting and ancillary needs as well. So feel free to give me a call or email anytime. And thank you so very much. I want to wish you guys a great rest of your day.
Everybody, have a great day.